Today, we're going underground. We're diving deep into the mind of one of literature's most tormented and, frankly, most influential figures. Now, this is not a hero's journey, not even close. It's an exploration of a man who is completely at war with himself, with society, and, get this, with the very laws of reality. This is the man who really set the stage for the modern anti-hero. Right from the very first sentence, the narrator just grabs you. This isn't some story told from a safe distance. It's a raw, unfiltered confession. He tells us he's sick, but, it's not his liver that's the real issue here. The sickness is much, much deeper. And his spite, well, as we're about to find out, it's the only medicine he thinks he has. All right, so to make any sense of his chaotic monologue, we're going to break it down into 5 key themes. We'll look at his self-contradictions, his idea that consciousness itself is an illness, his weird envy of the simple man, his rebellion against reason, and finally, his absolutely shocking defense of suffering. So let's start with the central claim he makes about himself, that he's a spiteful man. He tells us he used to get a real kick out of being a rude official, making people miserable. But here's the thing. Almost as soon as he says it, he starts to tear that very idea apart. Just look at this. You can literally see a mind at war with itself. He admits that even when he was being his most spiteful, he was inwardly conscious with shame that he wasn't really spiteful at all. He says he feels these elements absolutely opposite just swarming inside him, and that's why he can't become anything. Not a hero, not a villain, not even an insect. He's just trapped by his own contradictions. And this brings us right to the root of his problem. He's not describing some moral failing or a physical condition. No, for the underground man, the real sickness, the real curse, is his own mind. It's the fact that he is hyper-aware of everything. I mean, just think about how revolutionary this idea was. In an age that celebrated reason and enlightenment, he comes out and argues the exact opposite. He basically says that a normal person only needs a tiny fraction of the consciousness that he, a cultivated man, has. And any more than that, it's not a gift. It's a full-blown disease. So what's the #1 symptom of this disease? Total paralysis, inertia. Because he's so hyperconscious, he thinks everything to death. He sees a primary cause, then a cause behind that, and another one, and so on, forever. This insane level of overanalysis makes it impossible to find a solid reason to do anything, so he's just left to sit there with his hands folded. Now, to explain this paralysis, he creates this really powerful comparison. He pits the kind of man he wishes he could be against the creature he feels he's become. It's a battle between the simple, direct man of action and the overthinking, intellectual man. This comparison just lays it all out, doesn't it? The man of action is, well, stupid, but he gets things done. If you insult him, he just charges forward like a bull, because to him, revenge is simple justice. But the acutely conscious mouse, that's our guy. He's different. His intelligence paralyzes him. It forces him to question the very idea of justice. So, crippled by doubt, he just retreats into his nasty, stinking underground home to stew in his own resentment for decades. And now we get to the philosophical heart of his argument. This isn't just about his personal feelings of inadequacy anymore. This is a full-blown rebellion against the entire rational worldview, against the unchangeable facts of existence that were becoming so popular in his time. He uses this incredible metaphor, this stone wall. This wall represents everything that is fixed, unchangeable. It's the laws of nature, the logic of science, the certainty of math. It's everything in the universe that tells him this is just how things are, and you have absolutely no say in the matter. And here it is, the ultimate symbol of that stone wall, this simple, undeniable truth. For him, the fact that 2 + 2 makes 4 is not a comfort. Oh no, it's an insolence. It's like a smug guy standing in his path, telling him that his own will, his own desires are totally irrelevant. And here's the crucial point. He's not trying to argue that 2 + 2 = 5. He knows he can't knock down the wall, but he absolutely refuses to be reconciled to it. His rebellion isn't about changing reality. It's about refusing to give his consent to a reality that completely ignores his free will. And this is his ultimate act of defiance. To prove his freedom in a world governed by stone walls, he's willing to embrace the completely irrational. Just to desire that 2 + 2 make 5 is to prove that he is more than a simple machine, that his own caprice, his individual choice, matters more than any objective truth. So what's the target of all this rebellion? It's a concept he calls the Crystal Palace.
Now, this was a direct shot at the utopian socialists of his day, who dreamed of a perfect society where science had figured everything out. In this world, every human action is predicted, written down in tables, and there's no more chaos, no more mistakes, and no more suffering. And for the underground man, this utopia is an absolute nightmare.
This all leads us to his most radical and honestly most disturbing conclusion. In a world that's rushing toward comfort and rational self-interest, he argues that the most valuable thing a person has is something else entirely. He calls it the most advantageous advantage. It's not money or peace or even happiness. It's one's own free, unfettered choice, even if that choice is completely foolish, harmful, or self-destructive. It's the freedom to act against your own best interests just to prove that you can. This metaphor he uses is just so powerful. It really captures his greatest fear. In that rational utopia, that crystal palace, where all actions are governed by the laws of nature, a human being is reduced to a piano key. Someone else can play you, but you can't choose the tune. He would rather create destruction and chaos than ever accept that fate. So why on earth would he champion suffering? Well, because as he says, suffering is the sole origin of consciousness. Choosing to suffer is the ultimate act of individuality. It's a protest against the sterile, perfect world of the Crystal Palace. It's the final, desperate proof that we are human beings with our own will, not just predictable keys on a piano. And so we're left with his haunting question. He forces us to ask ourselves if our chaotic, irrational, and often self-destructive impulses are not just flaws to be fixed, but are actually the very things that preserve our personality, our individuality, our very humanity itself.